Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXY and today is the 6th of September 2022. The entire cryptocurrency market is still below the $1 trillion mark. And one theme which is echoed in September is that it is definitely not the best month for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. For today's episode, we are going to be discussing the US dollar against 6 foreign currencies. So there's a DXY Index, and it has reached a new all-time high in the last 20 years. And what does that mean for Bitcoin? Now we'll very briefly look at that. Every Mondays there's two technical analysis report which is provided by Glassnode and CoinShares. So we'll very briefly look at Glassnode's weekly insight and CoinShares article via Medium blog. Now if you're a technical nerd, you definitely need to look at the Glassnode's weekly insight. Does have a lot of fancy charts and does make a lot of predictions based on the previous week's information. Whereas CoinShares Medium blog, it is rather very simple. It does provide a screenshot of the weekly inflows and outflows of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency products. So we'll very briefly look at that, and we'll also discuss regarding Ethereum. There's a minor upgrade that takes place today called as Bellatrix. Now, as we know that Ethereum's upgrade from Ethereum 2.0 to Ethereum consensus layer takes place in less than 2 weeks. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens to the price of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. But the Ethereum Classic or the original Ethereum has gained a little bit of momentum. As a matter of fact, the price of Ethereum Classic has gone up in the last 24 hours. And regarding UK, they have a new Prime Minister, and we'll discuss if she was in favor of cryptocurrencies. And one thing which I talked about in previous week's episode is Bitcoin apolitical. Now, generally speaking, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are apolitical, but the reality is a little bit different. Politics and politicians do have a massive say in the adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And finally, we'll be talking about how NFTs is being used by terrorists to spread terror message. Definitely not a good thing for NFTs. And finally, regarding UAE, we have two news as well. The first news is about a giant called Klickl, and they have got in-principle approval by ADGM, that is Abu Dhabi Global Market. So we'll very briefly look at that. And the second news is about UAE's DODA, that is Theatre of Digital Arts. What they want to do is they want to share insight into Web3 and blockchain developments. So essentially they have an event which happens twice a month in order to promote Web3 blockchain development, and they're doing that mostly via NFTs. So let's kickstart today's episode. Welcome everyone, it's 18, you're in Dubai and you're listening to Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes on the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And this is followed by Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. And every Fridays we have Metaverse Everything podcast, where we focus solely on Metaverse, so please check out those episodes as well. The format for Metaverse Everything podcast is completely different, and what I tend to do is I tend to publish a daily and weekly report via my LinkedIn profile, so please follow me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is in the show notes below, or you can also go to the Blockchain DXB website, go to the crypto blog sections, and read through information from there as well. You can also go to the Medium website or Substack and just type in Blockchain DXB. So guys, let's kickstart today's episode. Now the market is definitely not looking good. If you look at the global cryptocurrency market, it is well below the $1 trillion mark. As of today, the 6th of September, it stands at $988 billion. And since the last 24 hours, it is marginally up by 0.62%. The total crypto market volume over the last 24 hours is extremely low, and it is currently at $65.53 billion. And since the last 24 hours, it is up by 34.72%. DeFi is down to $5.83 billion. That is the 24-hour trading volume. and the total value locked in DeFi is at $59.33 billion. MakerDAO still accounts for the dominant player so far as the TVL or total value locked of DeFi is concerned. The amount locked in MakerDAO protocol is $7.91 billion, and MakerDAO accounts for 13.34% of the entire DeFi system, and DeFi accounts for 8.89% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. And guys, I did attend an event last week where we were discussing about DeFi, and a lot of the guys did actually question about tokenomics. Now, in case you guys do want to know everything about tokenomics, Laura Shin has an interview going back to, I believe, 2018 or 19 with the founders of MakerDAO, and she has 2 episodes explaining how tokenomics works. So if you do want to find out more information, the basics of tokenomics, go ahead and listen to that episode. But again, it is an extremely old episode, and I'm pretty much sure that things have changed at the protocol level so far as DeFi is concerned. But if you have no understanding of how tokenomics works, there is definitely an episode I would recommend you guys to listen to. Now let's look at the volume of stablecoins. It is still down to 60.30%, and the volume does account for 92.02% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. So the 24-hour volume is still ridiculously low of stablecoins, down to $60.30 billion, and out of the $60.3 billion, Tether USDT accounts for $44.49 billion, whereas Circle's USDC accounts for $6.8 billion. Now the big news, particularly for the month of September, is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Now as of today, the market share of Ethereum is little over the 50% of the market share of Bitcoin. So Ethereum's market share is $199 billion, whereas Bitcoin's market share is $378 billion. And look guys, I do think that Ethereum will actually flip Bitcoin so far as the market share is concerned. I still think it might take maybe 6 months to 9 months for this thing to happen, but if this trend continues, I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of days, maybe in the next week, Ethereum flips Bitcoin. The 24-hour trading volume of Bitcoin is at $31 billion, whereas Ethereum's 24-hour trading volume is $15.6 billion, and the dominance of Bitcoin is at 38.30%, whereas Ethereum's dominance has gone up to 20.20%. So one quick question which I'd like to pose to you guys is, what was Ethereum's highest dominance? And if you can tell me what percentage it is and which year in the comments below, that'd be absolutely brilliant. So the question is, what was Ethereum's highest dominance in its history in terms of the percentage and its year? Now let's look at the price of the king of all kings, Bitcoin. It is currently at $19,749. Now since the last 24 hours it is down by 0.54%, and since the last 7 days it is down by 2.35%. Ethereum though has gone up. It is currently at $1,637. So it looks like the momentum is definitely shifting. And since the last 24 hours it is up by 3.86%, and since the last 7 days it is up by 6.08%. Binance Coin is currently at $279, and since the last 24 hours it is up by 0.17%, and since the last 7 days it is down by 2.81%. Now the big news going on in the stock market and the currency war is concerned is about the US dollar. Now there is an index called as DXY Index. So what that essentially does is it compares the US dollar against 6 foreign currencies, and these are some of the top foreign currencies. So the news is that the DXY Index has reached a new 20-year high of 110.27. Now we'll go ahead and look at what does that mean for Bitcoin. Now Bitcoinist.net, they have published an article that states Bitcoin trades are inversely connected to the dollar. So the ongoing rally in the DXY has also resulted in lower cryptocurrency valuations across the board. So definitely a valid point. So what that essentially means is when the US dollar's DXY index goes high, it is essentially not a good thing for the US dollar. The reason being, the US economy has a lot of business in other countries. Now, if the US dollar does go extremely high, value of the US dollar suffers if you look at the business that are considered all across the world. And Glassnodes also has a weekly insight, and they also state that the liquidity across all asset market continues to fade this week as persistent US dollar strengthen pushes the DXY Index to a new 20-year high. Now, if you do want to find out more information about the technical elements of what is going on in the cryptocurrency world, Glassnode's weekly insight is the way to go. But it has got a lot of graphs, and to be honest, it is extremely tough to understand. But if you are a technical nerd and a graph geek, I would definitely recommend you guys to go ahead and read through Glassnode's article. And Cointelegraph has also predicted an article where they have a lot of charts and they're trying to compare the DXY index with the price of Bitcoin. Now, let me warn you guys, the price predictions in Cointelegraph is 100% right 50% of the time. Now, Forbes also has published an article. What that states is a strong dollar is bad news for the stock market, as around 30% of the revenue which is earned by S&P 500 companies is from markets outside the US. Now, this would be completely different. Let's say if a country does not have a lot of business in other countries. If that is the case, and if the DXY index goes high, it is good for the economy. In case of US, the stock market does have around 30% of its revenue owned by S&P and companies from outside the US. And that is the reason why the DXY index going to new all-time high is not ideal for the US dollar, and that does have an impact on the price of cryptocurrencies. Now, could this also mean that in the next coming weeks, the bearish week is ahead for Bitcoin? Now, CoinShares, they have an interesting blog via Medium, and they published a blog via Medium on Monday, and this is published by James Barfel. This is relatively short and sweet, and it essentially is a screenshot, much more easier to understand. They have mentioned that they recorded inflows into short Bitcoin investments totaling $18 million, which means people are shorting Bitcoin. So definitely I think that in the next coming weeks, the price of Bitcoin might be going down. But once again, guys, there are Bitcoin whales and Bitcoin maximalists who will be manipulating the market. So all the price predictions does not tend to work out based on past week's information. Now, if you're a Bitcoin maximalist or if you're a Bitcoin OG, your message is pretty simple. Just hodl, that is hold on to dear life, or hashtag have fun staying poor. If you are a Bitcoin maximalist or if you're just into cryptocurrency, my message would be the same. Just hodl, that is hold on to dear life. Now let's share some information about Ethereum. As the merge date kicks in, Dailycoin has reported that according to Ethereum's timeline, one of the upgrade called as Bellatrix upgrade will actually go live today. As a matter of fact, while I'm recording this podcast, this upgrade is currently taking place. Now, this upgrade marks the first phase of the merge, and the article does provide some crucial information and what investors are already looking at. And as a matter of fact, the investors are already showing their belief that the merge will positively impact the price of Ethereum. Now, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, it does provide you the timeline of the merge, and the website is directly from ethereum.org. So definitely useful information. Now, with the Ethereum merge date getting closer, Ethereum Classic, that is the original Ethereum, what has happened to that is they are still running on the proof of work algorithm, and they have recorded a new all-time high so far as the mining hash rate is concerned, and it has reached 50 terahashes per second. Now, this is purely happening because there is so much of noise going on ahead of the merge. So Bitcoin.com has published an article that actually talks about Ethereum Classic mining hash rate reaching a new all-time high. A lot of the OGs in the Ethereum space do still believe on the Ethereum Classic, and if you look at the ethos of blockchain and immutability, you could argue that Ethereum Classic is still the original Ethereum. Now let's talk about some politics and cryptocurrencies. United Kingdom has a new Prime Minister, and that is Liz Truss. Now she's definitely in favor of cryptocurrencies. Now, ever since it was announced that she is the new Prime Minister, there are reports stating that she did actually mention via Twitter about how we should be welcoming cryptocurrencies. and we should be looking at the different potential that cryptocurrencies offers to its people. So definitely brilliant news. And one thing which I talked about in previous week's episodes as well, which side of political party is in favor of Bitcoin, open source, freedom, and cryptocurrencies? Now, generally speaking, in the US, the right wing or Republicans are in favor of Bitcoin, freedom, and open source technology. The left wing Democrats are not so much. That's not to say that all Democrats are against Bitcoin and freedom. Some of them are definitely advocates of Bitcoin, freedom, and open source. Now, in UK, it is the Conservative Party who are definitely in favor of Bitcoin, freedom, and open source technology. The Labour Party has said some really nasty things, particularly about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And in India, the right-wing party called as BJP is in favor of cryptocurrencies. The left-wing party, that is Congress, not so much. Now, one thing what I know about India is that the Reserve Bank of India, despite it not being involved in any political party, they are not in favor of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, whereas the Supreme Court of India is definitely in favor of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, let me try to talk some information about Philippines as well. In Philippines, the new Prime Minister, who's a right-wing, is definitely trying to build a blockchain association and wants to promote cryptocurrencies and the use of blockchain in general. The prior president, who was a left-wing, was definitely not in favor of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. In Pakistan, it's a mixture of right-wing and center-right. The current Prime Minister, who just got appointed a few months ago, is a right-wing or rather center-right-wing. So I'm not sure if he's in favor of cryptocurrencies, but the previous administration, who was PTI, was definitely a right-wing. And a couple of YouTube influencers from Pakistan who have a brilliant message regarding Bitcoin and open source. Now let's talk about some negative aspects so far as NFTs is concerned. Wall Street Journal has published an article that the national security analyst sees a potential dangerous platform for recruiting and funding using NFTs. And they published an article, a lengthy article, and in that it says that a terrorist supporting group did actually release an NFT called as IS-news#01. So essentially, there was an NFT which was listed on OpenSea, and it was done by a terrorist sympathizer. Now, this particular NFT was publishing an extreme point of view, and OpenSea looks like they have taken it off the system. So definitely not good. Now, it could be possible that this NFT can be sold to gain illicit financing. It also pushes across a narrative of a negative message. And once these NFTs are bought and sold, the power of immutability, which means these NFTs will remain in the blockchain technologies for a very long time. And that's one of the reasons why I always think about social media. Having immutability in social media is a terrible thing. So great thing that OpenSea has taken off that NFT from its market. Now let's talk about two news regarding UAE. Let's kickstart with the first news, that is UAE's Theatre, that is Theatre of Digital Arts. What they want to do is they want to share insights into Web3 and blockchain developments. If you do want to find out more information about this, you can go to toda.ae. Toda stands for T for Theatre, O for Orange, D for David, A for Arts. So the website is toda.ae, and they are located, if not in one of the most beautiful places in Dubai, called Souk Medina Jumeirah. They have a really nice theatre, absolutely beautiful. They have screens pretty much everywhere, 360 degrees. And this particular venue combines all three formats of digital art. And Toda is the UAE's first digital art theatre that offers a 360-degree immersive experience to its visitors. They also have yoga in a 360-degree environment. Absolutely brilliant and beautiful place. Using state-of-the-art technology, they will take you to an immersive way of appreciating masterpieces from around the world, from the world's most notable artists and contemporary digital creatives. And in the past, several NFT events in conjunctions with Coders HQ did actually take place, and I did actually attend them. There were a couple of presenters from arhead.io that talks everything about metaverse and quite a lot of NFT projects as well. One of the events did actually talk about the impact and the use cases of music, audio in NFTs. The news is that the Theatre of Digital Art, or TODA, the UAE's first digital art theatre, is to host a series of talks on developments within Web3 and blockchain, and they're doing that in partnership with MENA-focused blockchain ecosystem, Crypto Oasis. And Crypto Oasis is essentially an association with over 1,200 members. Now, personally, my interaction with Crypto Oasis has not been that great. The guys who I initially spoke to, they absolutely had no idea what cryptocurrencies are. But I'm hoping it is just a learning experience for them. So the theatre will launch Art Talks. Now, the art is spelled as A-R-T followed by an E, and it is a bi-monthly event to spread Web3 awareness and encourage mainstream adoption, and it will feature artistic voices from the NFT and metaverse space, as well as address some of the myths that surround Web3 and decentralized technologies. It'd be really interesting to have topics so far as the technological aspects of NFTs and metaverse is concerned. And once again, guys, my interaction with the members of Crypto Oasis has not been that great. They absolutely had no idea what cryptocurrencies are. It could be possible that the senior team needs to train them more so that they get a better understanding of what Bitcoin is and what cryptocurrencies are, so that way they know what it is not. So what did happen at TODA a few weeks ago was that a pilot talk was given by award-winning artist Amrita Sethi, known for being UAE's first NFT artist. Now, her talk included topics such as human behavior and the understanding of art and technologies, and it was followed by art talk with Patrick Mortiz, or PRM, the creator of NFT project Dubai Peeps. Now, if you've gone to Dubai Mall, you would have seen NFTs of Dubai Peeps quite often. So PMR, or Patrick Mortiz, shared insight into the digital art space and how it could provide opportunities for both digital and traditional artists. And Daria Prodovich, who's the managing director of TODA, said, "At TODA, it is our mission to make complicated concepts easier for everyone. We strive to educate our community and increase awareness of the utilization of Web3 space. Art Talk enables us to bridge the gap between art sphere and the decentralization domain of blockchain, as well as the opportunities within it." So hopefully in the near future, they do have such events, and at the end of the day, it's the people of Dubai and UAE that benefit. So definitely brilliant move. Now let's talk about the second news from UAE. That is a company called as Klickl, and it is spelled as K for kite, L for Larry, I for India, C for Charlie, K for kite, L for Larry. And the news is that they have received an in-principle approval by ADGM, that is Abu Dhabi Global Market, to operate as a broker, dealer, and custody provider in the virtual assets. So let me try to break down what the company is. So the website is Klickl.com, and it is a user-friendly platform built for everyone from beginner to pro. And what they say is their aim is to deliver an all-in-one crypto super app which serves all crypto needs in the ever-evolving digital era. Now, if you go to the Medium website, on the 1st of September, they have an official website press center that was officially launched as one of the important propaganda positions for Klickl to release strategic plans, major deployments, and new updates to the outside world, as well as to fully demonstrate Klick's culture and brand image. The information page includes headlines, platform information, data center, and quite a lot more. So go to the Medium website. They do have quite a lot of interesting information. The news is that Abu Dhabi Global Market grants Klickl a digital asset dealer and custodian preliminary license. And Klickl has since the start been actively engaging global regulators as part of its ongoing commitment to uphold global standards and collectively foster the development and sustainable growth of the crypto ecosystem. The issuance of the in-principle approval showcases Klickl's commitment to becoming an all-round virtual asset leader with the Abu Dhabi Global Market. So by focusing on building the ecosystem infrastructure, the new Klickl team is working around the clock to build a suite of products with an aim to deliver that all-in-one crypto super app which serves all of people's needs in the ever-evolving digital era. So definitely brilliant news. And the ADGM has granted Klickl a virtual asset service provider who has got offices in Hong Kong and Abu Dhabi an in-principle approval license to operate as a digital asset broker and custodian. So it was formerly called as ADGM, and the Digital Asset Exchange Group recently rebranded to Klickl, representing the sound coin makes when clicking in harmony and prosperity. So a really interesting name of naming your company. So if you look at it now, the Abu Dhabi Global Market has now approved licenses for more than 7 virtual asset exchanges to operate in the UAE. That is Binance, Kraken, and international players such as Bitoasis, Midchains, Matrix, and quite a lot more. So Abu Dhabi is definitely getting into Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and in the whole Web3 development as well. And Michael Zhao, who's the co-founder and CEO of Klickl, has said the regulated route is the only route for any crypto company's growth if it wants to be a serious player for the long run. Long gone are the days where digital asset players enjoy early mover advantage benefit from fast-growing bull market. Recent crypto market turbulence and big sell-off caused by greed-led FOMO or fear of missing out driven sentiment is just another example to show why the market needs proper risk control and compliance. Now, I partly agree to it that rules and regulations are needed, but as long as they do not prevent or foster innovation and adoption, I think regulations are definitely brilliant. He further went on to say that we are excited that Klickl obtained an IPA from and will soon be part of the thriving regulated ecosystem in UAE to expand our product and service offerings to the entire MENA region. So definitely brilliant news. So that's all for today, guys, from the Crypto and Coffee Tea through Blockchain DXB. In case you guys have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. You can also check out my website, that is www.blockchaindxb.com. And you can also check out my website, that is area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And if you like listening to this, please follow this podcast, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes, it's going to be an Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions about Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's kick start with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions about Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And remember, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies. And this is followed by 2 news and information related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. I have a question by Sunil who asks, is it a good idea to develop or build something on Web3? Now this is a brilliant question. But before we get into building something on Web3, Sunil, I really want you to ensure that you truly understand what is it that we mean by Web3? And the answer is pretty simple. Going back to the definition of Bitcoin, as long as the product that you build is peer-to-peer, that is what is Web3. And you have the ability to fully own your things. That is what Web3 is. Now, a lot of the products that are being built are definitely utilizing the marketing strategies of Web3. But in a sense, they are not peer-to-peer. You do not have full control of the products, but they're utilizing the name of Web3 and building things. So Sunil, it is definitely a brilliant idea to build things on Web3, but you need to go back to the basics and think, what is it that you're building? Let's say if you're building something music related, as long as the product that you're building is 100 peer-to-peer, that means between the artist and the listeners or fans, then it's good to go. It cannot be that it is partly decentralized or 30% decentralized or 20% decentralized. It needs to be 100% decentralized or distributed, how I like to call it. The second thing is about identity. Now, ever since the Twitter's former CEO did actually release the Web 5.0 document, there's a lot of buzz going on so far as the identity is concerned. The whole idea is your identity belongs to you and absolutely no one else. If you can merge that, again going back to 100% decentralized or distributed, then it is definitely a brilliant idea to build something on Web3. Now, personally, I still think, Sunil, there are very limited use cases of blockchain technology. Now, I know that I should be an advocate of blockchain technology, but the fact is, the centralized entities do a meta job. And what I'm looking at is three things. That is the old classic: time, cost, and quality. If you look at any dApps or decentralized app that you call it, and if you compare that with centralized apps, if you were to compare that in 2022, the centralized apps are much better in terms of, the fees are concerned. Most often they are free. If you look at the time, they definitely have a much scalability. If you look at the quality, the experience is so much better. If you look at the dApps, some of the dApps you still need to pay in order to get started. If you look at the scalability issues, we are still facing a lot of scalability. I'm not sure with the Ethereum upgrade if the scalability is solved overnight. And if you look at the quality, we are still living in the private key and public key era. Now, this thing is solved by some of the projects, but they falter so far as the peer-to-peer element is concerned, and they do have a strong degree of centralization. So whatever you're building, Sunil, make sure it is peer-to-peer. A person has full 100% access to his identity or the product's identity. And you also need to look at the blockchain trilemma problem. That is the scalability, the security, the decentralization aspect of it. You cannot compromise on absolutely even one of those. So solving scalability, security, and decentralization, or distributed, how I like to call it, will be a massive task. And it might take maybe a couple of years for this thing to be solved. But at the same time, Sunil, you also need to think, would it be better for you to just build things on a centralized system and work in the regular world? So that it purely depends on what you're trying to build. So that's all for today, guys, from the Ask Me Anything series from Blockchain DXB. In case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, drop them in the comments below, or you can also drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. You can also check out my website, that is blockchaindxb.com. You can also check out my other website, that's area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And if you like listening to this, guys, please follow this podcast, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And remember, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes under Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.